Good morning, dear students. Welcome to our session of microwave and antennas. So, in previous session, we were discussing regarding Smith charts. So, in which we saw what is meant by constant resistance circles and how it is actually shown on the Smith chart. Then we saw what are the constant reactance circles, and when we combine the constant resistance and constant reactance circles, we get what is known as the Smith chart. But along with this, we have other parameters also on the chart, such as I would specify the angle which is associated with the reflection coefficient, which is marked over here, angle of reflection coefficient. Then what is the wavelength when we move towards the generator? So those values are specified. And what is the wavelength when we move towards the load? Now, this chart, what we are seeing is actually a Z chart. That is Smith chart, which is used as an admittance chart. As an impedance chart. Smith chart that is used as a impedance chart. Now, that is what we had observed here. And there are few other things to note down in this case. So here there is one Smith chart in which you can observe there are few things which they have specified over here. So for this, I'll just refer back to this chart. So this will be a little bit clear for you. So here you can see there are several circles which are present. There are several circles. Why I'm discussing this again is because we need these all things for solving the problems. So this is actually having the impedance parameter. This is actually associated with the impedance chart, that is Smith chart used as an impedance chart. So in this, you can see that there are several circles which are starting from this point. So if you just observe, those are nothing but the resistance circles. So if you just observe, this circle is associated with the resistance. This circle is associated with the resistance. So similarly, you can see that there are some other circles that is part of the circles what you can observe. These are the reactance circles. That is they originate and then they terminate at the outer circle of this Smith chart. So this is associated with the reactance part and the resistance part. And on this line, you can see that what each circle, that is the resistance circle, is appearing. So here we are able to see the resistance circles, which start at the same point and terminate at this same point. So if you just observe, so these are the resistance circles. And what is the value of this resistance? It is given at these points. You can just see on this horizontal line, all the values are being specified. And what about the reactance circles? So it starts from here and terminates at the outermost circle. So if you just see, these are the reactance circles. So you can observe that these are reactance circles. And what is the value of these reactances? It is provided over here. So this will be the value of the reactances. And these are all normalized values. Even the resistance is normalized value and the reactance is normalized value. Now, if you're using this for impedance parameter, right? So this part is inductive component. And if you just observe at the below part, you have the capacitive component. Now here, what happens is when you're considering Z, that is impedance. So here, if you consider the inductance part, right, since this is a Z chart, we can write if it is just the impedance part, we write it as what? J omega L. So what is omega L parameter? It will be positive over here. So inductance will be positive. So those values, that is plus Jx divided by Z naught, plus Jx divided by Z naught. So that is what is specified over here. Now the same thing, if I just check for capacitive, what happens is if it is capacitive, we have it something as 1 by j omega c. And when we represent it in this form, it will be minus j omega c. So what happens is when we want to plot the conductances, right? We use the lower part. We use the lower part. Now, if you just observe over here, it is minus jx by z naught. Minus jx by z naught. X is nothing but what we specified. Z we specified. If x is the x is the reactive component, and if it is capacitive, it will be minus j by it will be minus j by omega c. So you will be having the negative parameter. So here, whenever you have some values, right? If the overall value is zero point 0.1 plus j 0.1, just for example. So here you can see that we have resistive component which is 0.1 and reactive component which is plus 0.1. Plus 0.1. So how do I plot this? I check out where is 0.1 resistive component, resistive circle. So here it is there, 0.1. And I check out where is plus j 0.1. So here if you just traverse on this, you can see that plus j 0.1 is this reactance circle and resistive circle 0.1 is this. So this point what we are observing, that is this point what we are observing corresponds to zero point 0.1 plus j 0.1. Now, suppose if we had 0.1 minus j 0.1, that is the which is over here. Again, we see that 0.1 resistive circle is here and 0.1 reactive circle is here. So therefore, what happens is this point what we are observing is associated with 0.1 minus j 0.1. So if you're plotting the inductive parameter, you plot it in the upper half part, and if it is a reactive component, you plot it in the lower half part. Now, what happens is when you're using the same Z chart, if you're using this same Z chart, that is the Smith chart used as impedance, but you are making use of it as an admittance chart. If you're making use of this as an admittance chart, then what happens is just minor changes, rest all things remain change, remain same. Only minor changes will be there. Now here, what happens is, uh, if I'm using the same chart, if I'm using the same chart for plotting, right? Then I am using this Smith chart as admittance chart, that is Y chart. Then what happens is this will be used for plotting the positive reactance values, and this will be used for negative reactance values. It is still same, but what happens is in admittance, if you just remember, you have it as 1 by z, 1 by z. So if here, when we made use, right, when we made use of admittance chart, it was represented as inductive reactance. But when we make use of the admittance chart over here, what happens is this part becomes capacitive reactance part or capacitive susceptance part. That is, we'll be making use of this upper part for plotting the capacitive susceptance. This is reactance, inductive reactance. This is capacitive susceptance. That is, it is nothing but opposite of this. Reactance, opposite of that is your susceptance. Now, so that's why you can see over here that you have plus JB by Y naught. It is all normalized values. So if you just recollect, say I have Z for which I am having, say, capacitive reactance part. So for this, what is the value? It was minus J divided by omega C. Now, if I take admittance of this, it will be 1 by XC, which will be actually equal to your B value, that is the susceptance value. So since minus J goes down, again, when you take it up, it becomes plus J. It becomes plus j omega c. So this part is plotted in upper half. So here you can see that it is positive. Now that is what you have. So whether you are using it as an admittance chart or a say impedance chart, that is this chart what I am speaking of. So if you're using this, if you have resistance or the conductance circles, these are the circles what you will be using. These are the circles what you are using, whether it is conductance or resistance. Now, when it comes to capacitive or when it comes to reactive or susceptance values, right? What happens is the upper part you use for positive imaginary part and the lower part you use for negative imaginary part. That is in simple way what I can put. So you use this for plotting the positive imaginary part and this lower part you use for negative imaginary part. If you're using this chart as the, if you're using this one as the, say Z chart and Y chart. Now what happens is there is another change which happens. Now if I rotate this completely, if I rotate it by 180 degrees, what happens is this is nothing but this is a admittance chart. Previously, what you saw the rotated, these circles were this side, this side. So that was actually what the Z chart. Now, I don't want all the other steps that is positive, negative, what I'm specifying. I just want to avoid that. Then what happens is I can rotate the entire chart. If I rotate the entire chart, the circles will be starting from the left hand side of the screen. So these are again conductance circles. These are conductance circles. These are susceptance circles. These are susceptance circles. But what changes will be happening is there will be a slight changes which you can observe. In this case, what happens is you say in Z chart, what happened? In Z chart, what happened? So if I'm using this chart, this part I used for conductance, inductance, and this part I used for capacitance. This part I used for capacitance. Now, if you're not rotating, what happens is, so this is for Z, what I'm speaking. Now, without rotating, if I use this chart for admittance, so this part will give me the capacitive information. This part will give me the inductive parameters. So therefore, what happens is sign will be positive whether it is Z or Y chart, and here it will be negative whether it is Y or Z chart. So if you're not rotating this, now what happens is if I rotate it, because you might come across all these things. It is for that purpose I'm discussing these things. So if I rotate this, this is actually the admittance chart. That is Smith chart used as the admittance chart. So if I have this, these are the conductance circles. These are the conductance. These are the susceptance circles. So these are the susceptance circles. But what happens is the upper part I use for plotting the inductances and the lower part I use for plotting the capacitances. So that is the change what happens. But in conductance, what is how is inductance identified? Inductance is identified by a negative sign, and whereas in admittance, that is capacitance is identified with a positive value. So therefore, lower half is used for plotting positive values and upper half is used for plotting negative values. It is, that is when the chart is in this form. The chart is in this form. So now what happens is it is really difficult for every time for you to rotate these and obtain. So this is the Smith chart. This is available. So in this case, what happens is this is Smith chart, which is the Z chart. The same chart can be used as an admittance chart using the same orientation. But you have to keep in mind that when you're plotting, you'll be plotting an upper half part L or C, where if it is impedance or if it is the admittance. And lower half, you'll be plotting the capacitance if it is Z, that is impedance. And if it is Y, you are plotting the inductance. Inductance. So in this case, it will be positive and negative. But when you rotate it, it will be changed over there. So now we have a chart which is superimposition of the two charts what we have discussed here. So that is this chart. So here it is not that clear. So you can just check out here. So there is another chart which is termed as ZY chart. That is Smith chart used as a ZY chart. So in this case, you can just observe you have these circles, right? These are resistance circles, and this side you can see the dotted lines. So these are the conductance circles. These are the conductance circles. So in the same chart, it is superimposition of both. And here you can see that there are what the reactance part. That is the reactance circles. But in this case, you will be having the susceptance circles. You will be having the susceptance circles. So these are the susceptances. Now, as I specified, this is superimposition. Now, in this kind of chart, right, the upper part is used for plotting the inductance value and lower part is used for plotting the capacitive value. Now, just remember, you are not changing any orientation. You are just superimposing the two charts what we have discussed. So when we are having this kind of chart, right, only the sign you should be careful. You should be careful with what value you are plotting. Now suppose if I'm using this as a Z chart, I'm plotting the impedance parameters. I'm plotting the impedance parameters. Then what has to be done? You use these circles. That is, you use these circles. So use the resistance and the reactance circles. Now, if you're using it as a Z chart, right, the upper part will be used for plotting the positive value of the complex parameter, that is the imaginary part, and negative value will be plotted over here. That is negative imaginary part will be plotted over here. Now, if you check out with, say, if you're using this as a Y chart, if the same this thing is used as a Y chart, then I can make use of these circles, which are actually the admittance related circles, in which these are the admittance parameters and these are the reactance parameters. Sorry, these are the conductance circles and these are the susceptance circles. So now, since what happens is inductive is always plotted in the upper half part and capacitive is always plotted in the lower half part. What happens is if you're using this kind of chart, this will be used for plotting the negative values which are associated with y, and these are the lower part is used for plotting the positive values. So it is it is this change what we have to look out for. Because these are the changes what we have to check out. Now, as we had discussed that open circuit, if I'm using the Z chart, open circuit is somewhere here and short circuit is somewhere here. Because for open circuit, the R tends to infinity. And for short circuit, R is equal to 0. So that plot is over here. So therefore, this end will be giving you the short circuit information. This end will be giving you the open circuit information. And we'll be having Vmax point at this end and Vmin point at this end. So when we solve the problems, right, we'll come across all these things. So these are the two kind of charts what you can observe. So here, if you're using this one, so this is actually Smith chart used as the admittance chart. The same chart can be used for plotting the Smith chart used as the impedance chart. The same chart can be used for using for plotting the admittance values. But if I want the superimposition, right, this is the chart what we have. So in this and this, what is the difference? In this chart, I do not rotate it. I'll be using the same this thing, but when we are plotting the values, right, the upper half part is used for plotting the positive values. Here you can see the positive imaginary part, but the lower half is used for plotting the negative imaginary part. So always you can refer to this Smith charts. Okay. So if you're plotting for Z, that is the impedance, you will be using the upper part as inductive reactance. But if you are using it for admittance, you will be plotting the capacitive susceptance part, and it will be the reverse in the lower half part. But if you're going for ZY chart, right, upper part is always used for plotting the inductance, and the lower part is always used for plotting the capacitance. So in Z, that is the impedance, right? If it is Z, impedance, the L value is positive and capacitive value is negative. This is the case. And if you're using it for Y, inductance is negative and capacitance is positive. So that is what you have to look out for when you are using this kind of charts. So now we'll go ahead with a few of the problems. Okay. Already we have discussed few of the things of how do we plot these things and all. So we'll have few more discussions and we'll wind up the session. So we have a transmission line with a characteristic impedance of 50 plus J0 ohm and is terminated with an impedance of 25 minus J100 ohm. Determine the voltage reflection coefficient, that is this value, voltage reflection coefficient at the terminal load. So we have to identify what is the reflection coefficient at the load end, that is at ZL, by using the Smith chart. So now what we'll do is we'll follow one of the charts and we'll try to see how the plot goes around and what are the values. So in this case, what he has specified that the characteristic impedance is 50 plus J0. So here Z0 is 50 plus J0, which is nothing but 50 ohms. And he specifies that the line is terminated with the impedance. So this is nothing but the load impedance. This is nothing but the load impedance. That is ZL is equal to 25 minus J100 ohms. So now if you just look at this value, you have resistive component which is 25 and reactive component which is actually minus 100, which indicates that it is capacitive in nature. We need to identify what is the overall reflection coefficient, and for that purpose we need to identify using the Smith chart. Now if you remember, you can identify the reflection coefficient using ZL minus Z0 divided by ZL plus Z0. So this you can utilize for cross verifying whether you are getting the appropriate value for after you have used the Smith chart. So here, first thing what we have to do is, since Smith chart, what we are observing, the Smith charts are all used for normalized plotting. So these are all values what you observe, right? These are all normalized components. So you can see that it is R by Z naught. It is G by Y naught. And here, if you just check, it is plus JB by Y naught. And if you check this, it is plus JX by Z naught. So if you just observe, all these parameters are divided by the characteristic impedance or admittance, depending on whether it is reactive or susceptive component. So now in the problem, what we have the impedance. So in order to normalize this value, we need to divide it by the characteristic impedance. So first we need to normalize the impedance parameter. So that is what we have done over here, ZL by Z0. So when we estimate this, what is the value we get? We get it as 0.5 minus J2. So now what is the next step we have to do is we have to identify the circle associated with 0.5 resistance parameter and the reactance component which is associated with -2. So we'll come down to the Smith chart. We'll come down to the Smith chart. So in Smith chart, so what is the parameter we have? We should see where is the reactance part of, where is the resistive circle associated with 0.5 and where is the reactive circle associated with -2. So here, so if you just observe, so this is Smith chart, which is used as the admittance chart. We'll be using this only for the all the problems. We'll not be going for that double chart, ZY chart. But in externals and all, if you get that, you should be able to identify how you go ahead with the plotting. So now, so this is the chart what we'll be using. So now in this case, we need to identify where is a resistive circle associated with 0.1. So if you just look over here, sorry, a 0.5. So if you just look over here, this circle which is there, this is nothing but this is the resistive circle which is associated with R equal to 0.5. This is the resistive circle which is associated with R equal to 0.5. So this is the point what we have obtained. So this is the, so this entire thing we have got it as the circle. Now I need to see where is -2. Now -2 in this case indicates that it is capacitive. And when we are using this Smith chart, so upper part is used for plotting the inductance, that is in Z, and lower part is used for plotting the capacitance. So this is how I can remember it in the other way. So this is positive, this thing, and this is the negative values. So here, since it is -2, the point will be lying in the lower half part. So where is the point associated? So if I just look around, right, where is -2? If I just check, here it is 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, so on, 1.8, and 2 is over here. So the this is the this is the reactive component which is associated with -2, and this is 0.5. So where are these two intersecting? So if you just see, these 2 points are intersecting at point A. These two are intersecting at point A. So this is the point which is associated with the normalized value, that is plus point minus J2. So first thing we have done, we normalized the value. We identified where is that point located on Smith chart. So once we locate it, next what we have to do is, since we need to identify the reflection coefficient, right, at the load end. So this is nothing but the load point. This is nothing but the load point because we have plotted ZL. ZL is nothing but load. So this is the load point which is marked on the Smith chart. So now next what we have to do is, in order to obtain the say reflection coefficient, what we need to do is we need to consider the center of the Smith chart, which is marked as O over here. We need to consider the center of the Smith chart, which is actually, if you just observe, it is nothing but, if I just traverse through this line, this center of Smith chart is associated with R is equal to 1.0. So that is the center of the Smith chart. So with this as the center of the Smith chart, and radius equal to the distance between the center of the Smith chart and the load point what we have marked over here. That is, we need to consider this radius. We draw a circle with this as the center and radius equal to OA. We draw a circle. So that circle is nothing but the VSWR circle. So here it is not much visible. So here you can see that with this thing we have drawn a circle over here. Slightly not visible. So we have drawn this circle. So once we draw this VSWR circle, we can use this VSWR circle to identify what is the value of reflection coefficient. There are two ways of doing it. So one is what we do is, when we draw this circle, that is with center as O and radius equal to A or OA, when we draw the circle, this circle cuts this horizontal axis at 2 points. One is at this point and one is somewhere over here. That is two extreme ends it cuts up. So now just identify in this scale, where is voltage reflection coefficient plotted? So in some cases, it is plotted at both ends. You can see over here, it is mentioned as voltage standing wave ratio over here. But if I just check with some other charts, right? Sometimes this is how it will be given. So slight variation, but all the parameters will be present. So here you have the reflection coefficient, then SWR in dB, attenuation in dB. So all these things are present. So even here, if I just check, so you can see standing wave ratio, attenuation, standing wave loss coefficient, so reflection loss. So all parameters are specified. Reflection coefficient. So this is the parameter, and you can see that this is the line which is associated with center of this lower part. That is this scale what we are observing, right? This is the center of the lower part, which is nothing but when I just project it up, right? When I project it up, it actually coincides with the center of the Smith chart. Okay. So here, what we'll do is we'll try to see where is voltage standing wave, sorry, a reflection coefficient parameter on the scale. So here we can see that voltage reflection coefficient is present on this scale. Now there are two ways of identifying what is the reflection coefficient. Now here you can see that on this part, on the horizontal line, right? This has the circle has cut this horizontal line at this part. So you just project this down. You project this down onto the reflection coefficient scale. So the line intersects the reflection coefficient scale at the point which is marked as B over here. It is marked as B over here. So now if I read this value, it will give me the magnitude parameter of the reflection coefficient. So you project that line, the line onto the reflection coefficient. This is one way. Or else, what we can do is you measure what is the radius of the circle. So, or you take the distance between the center of the Smith chart and the load point. So in this case, it is the load point. Distance between the point O and A, you measure that distance and you mark that distance keeping this as the center, because this is the center which is associated with the scale. You mark the point on this reflection coefficient scale, which is nothing but it will be again the same point B. You mark that point on this. So you will be getting the point B. So in this case, it is roughly around 0.7, 0.72, 0.76, some values there. It is around 0.76. So let us see what value we had got over here. So when we obtained that, right? So we got it around 0.78. So on the Smith chart, so just read out the scales. So in this case, we have marked the point B, which gives you the magnitude of the reflection coefficient. Now, what about the angle? What about the angle? So here we had seen that the angle of reflection coefficient is given on this outermost circle. So you can see that there are some values which are being specified. So reflection coefficient in degrees, angle of reflection coefficient in degrees. So you start off from 0 and you move ahead. Okay, so these are the values which they have provided. So when I measure the angle, right? When I measure the angle, I'm getting it around minus 51. So how do I get that minus 51? So here what we have to do is, so you have the points, that is center of the Smith chart and the load point. You join these 2 points and extend this line so that it cuts the outermost circles. You extend this line so that it cuts the outermost circles. So if you just observe, when we have extended that, we are cutting the outermost circle at some specific point, which is associated with the angle of reflection coefficient in degrees. So here, if I just read this value, what I'm getting is minus 50 minus 51. So angle is minus 51. Angle is minus 51 from the Smith chart. So therefore, what is the value of the reflection coefficient? It is magnitude is 0.78 and angle is minus 51. Now, in some cases, you might read it as you started from 0 to 180, and you continue 180 plus another 50 and plus 51. So that also will be fine. So that is, you just consider this as 180 plus another 51 degrees. So here, instead of specifying that, what they have done is they have taken this from this point. If you're moving in the clockwise direction, you read the angle as negative. If you're moving in the clockwise, anti-clockwise direction, you read the angle as positive values. So that is what they have specified. So that is what you can see even in the other chart. Here you can observe in the other charts also, it is the same this thing specification what you have got. So on this chart, when you move around and see where the angle of reflection coefficient is cutting, it is cutting at minus 51. So this gives you the angle, and this parameter gives you the magnitude of the reflection coefficient. Now, what about the voltage standing wave ratio? So if you want, you can just cross verify with the equation also. It will be slightly very close to the value what we have obtained. So here it will be very close to this value what we have obtained. With slight decimal variations, you will be getting it. So here you can see that we have VSWR also. You can measure the VSWR from this plot. So how do you obtain the VSWR measurement over here? What you do is you can use the voltage standing wave ratio scale over here or this one, and then try to drop it on. So for that, you will be obtaining the value for the say reflection, the voltage standing wave ratio. So for this case, we have obtained what is the reflection coefficient at the load end, at the load end. So this is one problem. Let us have a look at the next